On this episode of The Content Capitalist, I invited Jereshia Hawk to speak with me. She, by the way, is a badass millionaire and coach. And I asked her, what are the biggest mistakes coaches are making? And how specifically can they learn to sell intangible products and services like coaching and consulting? And I want you to continue watching because she has some really good gems.
The Content Capitalist Podcast.
Well, let me ask you first, which one of those things are you feeling that, like, when people come into you, they're green, they're good at what they do, but they're not helping enough people, right? Not making enough sales. What's the biggest mistake people are making that you notice in your world?
Yeah, most of my clients are phenomenal at deliver value in the sense of what they're delivering. They're incredible at the work that they do, but they have not yet really mastered or really even understood that there's a whole nother skill set of being able to properly articulate your value, especially when you're selling something intangible. When you're not selling a physical product, when you're selling your intellectual property, you're selling your experience, you're selling your advisory or your consultancy. We have to be mindful of how are we creating that level of tangibility and how are we properly communicating the value of what that is for somebody who can't see it, touch it, feel it immediately. Because you can't, when you're coaching, there's a lot of trust that has to be built, and there's a lot of verbiage, vocabulary, precision with what you are communicating in order to help articulate that value in the sense where somebody else can understand what it is to help them make a buying decision.
So I did a bit of role playing here with her, and I asked her to treat me as if I were one of her clients and I was a weight loss coach. And I asked her for specific tactics to use in order to boost my coaching business, and also specifically around targeting my ideal audience with the content. Here's what she had to say.
Basically, they're trying to sell themselves without knowing how to present themselves, right? So give me an example. Let's say I'm a weight loss coach, right? And which I am not, but if I were, right? And I come to you and like I'm let's say you get 100 weight loss coaches. What's the most common mistake someone like me might be making? Like, am I pitching too much? Am I not pitching enough? Is it not enough content, too much?
When we are helping clients where they miss the mark, there is starting to pay attention to where are those patterns of commonality with my best performing clients that I can start maybe speaking to more specifically in my messaging. And I'm thinking of one client in particular. She was a weight loss coach, and kind of how she positions and markets herself now. What she noticed is that her best clients traveled more than 150 days out of the year. Most of her clients were flight attendants who were trying to lose more than 30 pounds of weight. And that's now we're speaking to a more specific problem, a more specific moment in time for the particular audience that she's serving. It's going to be a bit more, I think, generic or broad than if you're like, I'm keeping in mind a woman who travels 150 or more days out of the year is trying to lose 30 pounds. I can create much more specific content to the fears, the experiences that individual is really, really having.
So I asked her the age-old question, what if you've got a really small audience? You don't have 1 million followers. And, surprisingly, she actually does have quite a small audience herself. So she shared how she specifically is getting the premium audience, even though it's smaller, it's premium, and it still makes her those millions of dollars.
I totally get that. And do you ever see pushback between that? Like, when people create content, obviously if it's super specific, then there's going to be fewer views, smaller audience, and someone who's coming in, they might freak out, say, oh my God, like, my stats are all down. Are people saying that to you when you tell them that?
Always, always, always. And the biggest thing we have to inform our clients on is when you start selling a more premium priced offer and really positioning yourself in that category, the metrics that you pay attention to have to change. We have to really shift our clients' perspective, and even mine had to change like this when I started playing more in the premium priced arena in the education space. It's not about volume, it's about quality of volume. So it doesn't matter if I'd rather have a smaller audience of more qualified leads and a bigger audience of non-qualified leads any day of the week.
So in this part, she actually gave some advice that was kind of surprising. She said that if you see what Grant Cardone is doing and Gary Vee is doing, that's exactly what you should not be doing. And the reason for that, she's going to explain that in just a second.
Do you ever get this question? It's like, but look at, what Grant Cardone is doing, look what Gary Vee is doing, and like, why can't I do what they're doing? Now, I kind of, I have an answer for this when people ask me. I want to hear what you say when people say that, because these guys, as a lot of people will consider them like at the top of the top when it comes to content creation in the business realm. And, I think that in every community, there is that, the person that, or every industry, there's that person people kind of consider to be the leader, right? And people want to just skip a lot of stuff and just do what they're doing, right? And they don't see everything that they did to get there. But do you ever get that pushback?
Yeah, I mean, I think context is really important, and what's the intent behind the outcome that these individuals are hoping that their content is going to create. Like when I think of like a Grant Cardone or like the Hermosis, I know the Hermosis right now are like everywhere.
They're on fire.
They are, and they're incredible human beings. I met them a couple months ago in LA. But like when I think about the Hermosis or the Grant Cardones or whatever, they're not using content for the primary reason of generating leads to sell into a program. We're trying to attract talent for the companies that we are acquiring, and we're trying to attract companies that we can't acquire. Even like me, I mean, I'm a multi-million dollar coaching company, but like my content's job is not to make me look famous. My content's job is not to make me appear to be an influencer. My content's job is not to, every time I go into a business event, everybody knows my name. Like the role and the purpose of my content is to attract qualified leads for the program that I'm selling. If I mimicked the Hermosis or mimicked Grant Cardone or mimicked Tony Robbins, I would be mimicking somebody's definition of success that's different than what I'm actually trying to achieve right now. And that can be really dangerous. And I think it can lead to burnout. It can lead to a lot of excess spending that's unnecessary, wasted time, wasted resources, and it'll really mess with your mentality too. Like it'll mess with your mental. But so yeah, I think that's kind of what I would say is like, I think context is really, really important, and be mindful of why is somebody doing what they're doing versus just, oh, they look successful, let me blindly copy what they're doing.
That right there, if anybody's listening, that right there should answer 99% of the questions on why people are doing the wrong thing or what you're doing wrong. Jereshia, you hit the nail on the head, and I so appreciate how you articulated it really, really well.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more like this, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, to smash the subscribe button, and also to share this video so that more people can get more tips from millionaire content creators. And I will see you in the next video.